Welcome to Center 3 of our Bird Calls unit. This center is called Find Your Kind, and this is a good center if the weather's nice to do outdoors with the kids. If not, you may want to find a space that's away from other folks, as this is one where the kids get to make some bird noises and it could get loud. Talk about some ways to do it where if you need to do it in the classroom, you might be able to keep it a little more subdued. But the point of this center is to talk to the kids about the different bird calls and why the birds call each other and how they identify each other. So information on here that you can read about are using songs to establish territories, obviously to find mates, etc. There is a game that is in the center, and there are two sets of cards again that are similar to center 1. Each of the sets is the same. It's got two birds, and on the back it tells what bird it is. So this is the black-capped chickadee, and then it shows the mnemonic of the bird call. So for instance, this one's chickadee-dee-dee-dee. And this also whistles a fee-bee sound, it says. And so the way this works is one of the kids is designated to be it, and the person who's it will take a full set of these cards that have all of the different birds. And obviously you can use just the number of cards necessary for the kids who aren't it, each to have one, so probably 5 of these cards, maybe 4, depending on your group size. And the way the game is described on the outline is that the kid who's it takes their cards and sits with their back to the rest of the kids. And the rest of the kids take their individual card, they each have one card. And when you say go, they start calling out the bird sound. So we're trying to represent a bird being in the wild, maybe trying to find a mate or find the edge of its territory, and it's listening to all the other birds that are making their calls. And the kiddo who's it will try to identify what sound is on there and then place the card down to match with the other kid who's making the sound. So again, a way to try to listen to what's going on, identify who their kind is, and listen closely to the sounds themselves. So if you can't go outside or you can't find a place that you can make a little more noise, here you may want to play it one at a time. So if the kid that's it has all, let's say 4 or 5 cards, the other kids could make their sounds one at a time, and the person who's it could choose them. Hopefully that might keep it a little more subdued. So again, have fun with that. Obviously with the younger students, you'll probably have to read some of the sounds to them, maybe help them make the sounds so that they can repeat them. And again, make sure we discuss the scientific background here about using the songs. You can also talk about on here there are other ways that birds can pick partners or identify each other, including displays that they might use with feathers or movement, the nesting sites, the food supplies, etc. that they use to find their mates. The other thing that it mentions on here to give some background is to start talking about the biology of how the birds make the sounds. In Center 5, you get very in-depth into how birds make sounds, but this is also, I think, a good center to talk about the syrinx, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the part of the bird's vocal cords, if you will, that make the sound, and how that's different from the larynx that we use as people. So again, connecting some of the science that's on here on the description to the kids who are making the sound and why birds can make amazing sounds and we can't make the same sounds necessarily. So hopefully you get good weather and you can enjoy this outside and listen to some birds while you're doing this outside. If you have any questions, email us at mitchellelf@gmail.com.